fam and friends. We are from Group 9 and we want to present our discussion about culture, class, teacher and student identities, and the procession toward freedom. But before it, let us introduce ourselves. Start from me. My name is Helfrida Purba and my friend Rianti Tesalonika, John Henri, Meli Astri Siahaan, and Kristina Sitanggang. So now, let us start. The first one is culture class. Culture class is a conflict arising from the interaction of people with the different cultural values. The culture class may happen because of the different background of cultures of students in the classroom. As educators, we are often positioned as our students gateways to a better future, and that's a powerful role. But in moments when students are raising their voices or are engaged in the lesson, we can feel anything but powerful. And when those students don't look like us or share our cultural background, the resulting class can make positive relationships to build in the short term and irrevocably damage in the long term. As educators, we have the responsibility for seeking further advice on how to build the relationships effectively across gaps of the demographics and experience. In one case, we are asked directly how to manage the behavior of the students of different races, when the reader felt that some behaviors were the result of students' home cultures. The question gave us pause. Since then, we must reflecting more deeply on what we've learned, or sometimes the hard way, about the complexities of teachers or students' relationships over the years. We move to the number 2. So, the title is Identity and Experience. In this part, Dewey in 1935 wrote that a life is not a unified, uninterrupted advance or trend. This is history. Each work has its own plot. The process of the professional development of social work begins with acquisition and the development knowledge and skills. Then, it turned to the understanding the profession based on own values and beliefs, and finally match these values with values creating their own professional identity. Experience is the basis of our meaning yesterday and tomorrow. Understanding those experiences that are particularly sensitive to the development of person's identity will enable us to express our own life process more clearly. What is the meaning of the stepping stone to a more complex self-understanding? We think, we cherish. Okay, that's all from me, and next material will...
Hi everyone, I will continue the explanation of my friends, but before it, let me introduce myself. My name is Rianti Tesalonika Simanjuntak. Okay, let's start it. Identity and operation. Identity relates to the question, where do I fit and why must I carry this burden? And etc. Because of that, every student will try to find out their identity, such as what actually they wanted in their life, what group that they wanted to join, and etc. The second is operation. According to Goldenberg, 1978 argued that operation operate on the premise that one's experience of oneself is always contingent on an awareness of just how poorly one approximates the image that currently dominates. And second one is critical identity for teachers, a new synthesis of teaching and learning. Moral philosophy has the capacity to take human consciousness and challenge people to think mindfully and broadly about how they might respond to questions of operation and teacher identity and their impact on teaching and learning. According to Socket 1993, and Hicks and Socket 2000 remind us of our need to be moral professionals, referring to the notion of teachers being treated as moral agents, as opposed to the technician with little input into decision of curriculum practice, governance, and accountability. One of the negative outcomes Hicks and Socket focus is the teacher's struggle against their technically defined role to create human caring environments in their classroom and schools. Needed is a context in which, given the fact that human beings create meaning from their lived experiences, as revisioning of one's conception of the self can occur so as to honor the diversity and integrity of lived experiences and still allow for individual.
Hello, my name is Kristina Sitanggang. I'm member from group 9. Just I want to explain about the identity and culture class. Okay, the essential way in which define our self-identity encourage us to frame a narrow conception of ourselves and thus them into the similar and blinding box. The problem is monoculturalism, which universalizes the perception and terms of signal culture, and embodying in the production of worthy value. A monocultural is summary denied access to cultural canon. Is insight allow us to blend the traditional school siren song, conformity, and obedience with the modality of monistic singular and universal way doing. American school is multicultural institution function the study of production history. This is nation with a particular attention to the facts and embody them, as well the defines and the values spending wide.
Okay, my name is Meli Siahaan and my NPM 18010301110, and I will continue our topic. Culture in multicultural classes can be formulated as a form of awareness about cultural diversity, human rights, and the reduction or elimination of prejudice for a just and advanced community life. Culture in the multicultural class can also be used as a strategic instrument to develop awareness of one's pride in one's nation. Culture in the multicultural class can be conceptualized on two dimensions, namely, 1. Content integration and groups to describe measures, concepts, principles, generalization, and theories in a subject or discipline area. 2. The process of compiling knowledge, point something, related to the extent to which the teacher helps students understand, investigating, and to determine how cultural assumptions implied by terms of references, perspective, and prejudice in the discipline affect the way knowledge is organized in it. It's more important than ever to discuss this issue, for such differences are on the rise. The more diverse classrooms are something to celebrate, but the cultural difference that accompany it can influence teacher-student interaction. They can also make field topics more difficult to talk about in class, Many teachers have looked for ways to talk with their students about racism, inequality, and other complex and sensitive issues. So, teachers need to find resources that can help teachers guide conversation around this difficult topic. Even across racial and cultural schools still have to do more to support teachers to talk about their difference and the different life experience they bring, and to help teachers effectively navigate them to build strong relationships with students and families.
How to handle class when the cultural clashes occur. Like most educators, this is still a challenge they have to do in class. For example, we can find a lot of the conflict between my students and teachers. Usually, these conflicts start out of a simple misunderstandings of the stemming from culture differences. Like the following example, we had a sizable population of students belonging to the current group from Thailand and Burma. Cultural misunderstandings such as teachers addressing students by only on one of the three parts of the traditional Karen name cause students to feel distracted. In response, our school leaders catered diversity training to educate staff about the current cultural customs. Teachers attend current celebration at the local community center and they invited current guests into the school. This approach empowered teachers to be more confident in the interaction with their students and families, and ensured that students didn't feel culturally alienated in school. Okay, for the conclusion is as we know that the culture clash can cause the problem in the class while in the learning process. So try to understand the situation and the important thing that we must be learned as the candidate to be a teacher. Teacher must be understand to the situation of the student individually so they can give the best solution if the culture clash happened. If our schools are to truly serve students well and make our teachers feel support to engage students and families successfully, diversity efforts must be focused on the needs of individual of school communities. We must educate ourselves about the communication norms in the communities we serve and increase our efforts to authentically engage with the communities as the best we can, including sometimes having talk conversation about the experience our students face in their daily lives, even if we don't share to those experiences. We cannot hope that as our schools become more diverse, they will become colorblind place where the cultural difference won't matter. Ultimately, that approach only devalues students' cultures rather than honoring them.